back to Backstage Berry after our gigantic hiatus. Thank you, Miss Rona. But she tried us, but we're still here, and we're still queer, and I'm not drinking beer. But I am here with two amazing gentlemen to kick off our long hiatus in our 5th season of Backstage Berry. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome to our show, Tom Mizer and Curtis.
Hi, thank you for having us.
I know.
I wish I had a martini.
Here. So, how have you been, gentlemen? How's everything going?
Oh my gosh, it's been very good. It's been busy times for us. We've been, COVID has been crazy because at first everything we were doing was canceled 100%.
Everything.
Everything. As we all know, anybody doing theater or this kind of arts like that, we were just all sort of cut off. And then slowly things started to kind of rev up again, and we've been doing other things, and now we're both sort of like crazy in it. We're very busy right now, and we're very, very, very blessed and lucky.
Yeah,
The good thing is that we were sort of prepared for this all our lives because we worked via Zoom before COVID, so we were sort of set up. We were like, oh, this is just how we normally work. So.
Well, because I live in New York and Tom lives in LA, but even when Tom lived in New York, which we lived in New York for 20 years together, we still couldn't sometimes be bothered to cross
Careful with the dating us.
I know.
Oh, honey.
Wait a minute.
I've got tape back here.
I do too.
I'm working with some tape.
But yeah, we would Zoom even in New York City. I'd be like, I'm not going to Brooklyn right now, and he'd be like, I'm not coming to Manhattan. We would just FaceTime.
At East River.
I know, right? My broomstick always broke down. I was like, I'm not flying over there. You need a passport. So my first question is, your alma mater is Northwestern, correct?
Okay.
So is that where you both met, I'm assuming? Yes?
Yeah, we did.
And how did you guys meet at Northwestern? Did you know each other before?
No, I mean, I had known of Tom because he was a theater major and was in shows. And oh my God, Kate Fry, remember her? You were in I'm good with her. Anyway, so I knew of Tom, and we were paired up by our professor, who was like, oh, you guys are both writers. He's a lyricist, you're a composer. You should get together and start writing songs. And we did. We started writing back in school, and literally have never stopped. It's been a great team. And then there is a little bit of controversy because I think I asked Tom to the music theater formal, and he denies that we were on a date. But I think we were on a date.
We did not go on a date. It was a group. It was a group. You know what I mean?
It was a date.
So
you're both absolutely adorable. I mean, I would think I would be on a date with either one of you. In fact, Curtis, I showed my fiance the other day one of your pictures because, I've been doing my research and I've been reading up and things. He was like, oh, he's Russian. He's like, oh, very cute. I was like, well, look at both of them. He's like, wow. Very interactive.
Oh, that's very sweet. Tell him I say thanks. Tell him I say.
We will. When he gets back with the pupper, he took our new puppy out for a little walk, so we had our time here.
Yay.
So yeah, all right. So you met in Northwestern. When did you know that music was going to be a big part of your life? Why don't you hit this one first, Tom?
Gosh, I mean, I always was interested. I was the kid who was watching old movies, and it was between sort of old movies and West Side Story. I saw that movie really young and thought, I love this. And then the Muppets. I saw the Muppet movie, and it was like, I am going to find a place in the magic store. This is my life. I'm going to be part of this somehow. So it was just a winding road, though, because I was more of a writer, actor, not involved with music until I got to college, and then met Curtis, and he's the keyboard. He's the music man.
He's the music man. He's the what? Yeah. He's the music man. What about you, Curtis?
Territory.
You got another territory. How about you?
Well, I think, for me, similarly, I mean, I went to Northwestern to study electrical engineering, but switched into music while I was there. But I always loved music. Growing up, I always wanted to be I think I wanted to be Barry Manilow when I grew up. And I just, my parents listened to him when I was a kid. So I was like, oh my God, I love him. And he is such a great arranger and songwriter.
No lie. I didn't even realize that he conducted. I know that seems kind of ditzy of me, but My first, like, just speaking of Barry Manilow, my first, like, big thing with him was Thumbelina. Do you guys remember the animated movie Thumbelina? It's some of the best music in an animated film ever, and it's so underrated. I could listen to that soundtrack in loop, but I'm sorry. I
got emotional, yeah.
I got emotional. I do.
No, and in fact, I just took Brad as really my husband. Literally our second date, I took him to see Barry Manilow on Broadway, and I was like, if you can't handle this, you're not going to handle me. So
oh yeah,
he did great. He danced. He stood up with me at Copacabana. So yes,
that is super romantic. Now, what was the first musical you saw, Curtis, that you can remember?
The first musical I think I saw that was like not something I did in third grade, like with my.
Yes.
The first musical that I saw was probably Joseph and the Amazing Coat. Yes,
that's a good one.
And I do remember I was like, this is like, it was like some, regional, it wasn't even regional theater, it was like some community theater production. And I just was in love. I was like, oh my God, how can this be so much fun? I love it so much. Get me on stage. Like, I loved it. I loved it. And like Tom, I think, I started when I was younger, I loved to perform. I mean, I still love to perform. I'm a closet performer. I need to come out. But when I was a kid, I just loved to perform, and I did a lot of musicals and Gilbert and Sullivan shows, and the local community shows I would do, but then I got to college and I was like, oh wow, these people are actually really good. I'm not.
This is what they want to do.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go back to my math and science.
What about you, Tom?
I think the first professional musical, because I saw a lot of like bad high school productions of Guys and Dolls, I think, when I was young. It felt like they did Guys and Dolls every year. And then, but I can't remember if it was Les Mis or Cats.
Oh.
It was one of the two
classic.
they were very classic and hugely informative, because it was like a big trip downtown. I lived outside Washington, D.C. in Virginia, and we went to D.C. to the National Theater, and you got dressed up and you went down, and it was a special night, and it made it feel like going to church.
Oh yeah, but better,
much better.
It was more gay.
Well,
or
I grew up Catholic.
Me too. Wow. Yeah. Small world.
Go figure.
I grew up born again, so we're also
that's a whole thing.
Yeah. Sometimes we need a little intervention. What was the first musical the two of you saw together?
Ooh, that we saw together. Oh, hey, there's my husband. Hey, Brad. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Backstage Berry, sponsored by Brad.
Sponsored by Brad. Oh my gosh. What do you think? That is hilarious.
I'm trying to think.
It was certainly something in Chicago. It might have been like, did you ever see like Journey to the West or
it was probably something at the Goodman. Yeah.
Like Cry the Beloved Country I saw there, or I don't know, House of Martin.
Big toe tapping hits.
I know. I know. Actually, I'm not sure that we saw. I mean, when we, one of the ones I definitely know that we saw, not together but a night apart, was when we both went to New York City during. I think it was my junior year. It was maybe your first year out of school, Tom, and we both saw Passion.
Oh.
Yes.
The dress rehearsal, and I saw the first preview. So we were one night apart, and it was that was really exciting to see like a brand new Sondheim show on Broadway.
Yes. Oh wow.
That was actually a really special story because I was on a trip to New York, and I was really excited to see Passion because I was a lyricist in Sondheim as the God, and he had a new show, and I was leaving the next day, and it wasn't open yet. And I knew someone through someone who was going to see the final dress rehearsal. And he was going with the actress Rebecca Luker. And God rest her soul, she gave me her seat.
No.
And she said to me that night, she said, I want you to see this show. You take the seat. All that matters is after the show, come meet me at Sam's, which was a big theater hangout, and tell me about the show. And that night, here I was, this little, like, right out of college student sitting with a star. She was already a star in Secret Garden and stuff.
Yes. Legendary performance about the show.
And she just passed, and it is
we were just talking about her yesterday. We were talking about the actress Dove Cameron. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a very young lady. And she played Mary in a production of that. And my best friend and I were like, why have they not revived that show? It's such a good show. And we've got great child actors out there, or 20-somethings that think they're child actors. And, you know, it's such a wonderful show, but we were like, her performance as Lily was legendary. It really was.
Oh my God.
And she really changed my life that night and made me believe I could be part of the Broadway community. And
yeah, I saw her in The Music Man.
Oh, she was great.
Oh, so good.
I actually, interestingly enough, if you hold for just 1 second, this is interesting.
Pause. Should we juggle?
I know, exactly.
So I went to school. Oh, sorry. I went to school originally for animation. And
cool.
This is actually Rebecca Luker.
Wow.
This is when she was sitting on the front of the porch when she was singing, I think it might have been Good Night, My
White Knight? Good Night, My
And so I had to use her as reference. We had to create our own character, but you had to use live reference. And I had the program from that, which had her picture. And I was like, perfect, because she was just so incandescently beautiful. And I was like,
why? How did we not all know each other?
I know.
How do we seem to have everything in common?
Well, it was the first A I got in college. Like, I was super excited for myself. I didn't finish. I went to school for animation. Those people are brutal. Like,
oh my God. Woof. Only imagine.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah, I left to do the smarter thing, be a performer.
Yeah, of course.
Lucrative.
Tom and I came to New York to go to grad school, and we both dropped out before we even started. We're like, no, we just needed an excuse to get to New York. But then once we got, woohoo!
Everybody does.
I mean, listen, get yourself to New York.
Get to the Big Apple, I'm telling ya. So at what moment, working together, did you both kind of realize this is it? Yes, we click. This duo we really got something here.
I mean, honestly, for me,
was it a project or something that you were working on?
We started it was one of those things, you know, I was very new to writing songs. I mean, I still am. I mean, good Lord, I always feel like I'm new to writing something. But when we were in college, I'd written some like music things, and I was in music major. But writing with Tom was the first time I'd actually written songs, and working with him on structure was so exciting to me. Talking about story and really opening up what I always like to talk about, which is story. I'm such a storyteller. And I think being with Tom was so just for me, I can't speak for him, but it was so enlightening that first project we worked on, which is an adaptation of Nathaniel Hawthorne's House of the Seven Gables. Well, actually, no, before that we'd done Book of Love, which was also, but that was kind of weird that with a lot of people. But I just remember thinking like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's super smart. And, you know, he's always challenging me in the room. And I just really liked the work we were creating. So it never really was a thought that we wouldn't be writing together for a long time. That's just kind of what it was. And we moved.
Yeah, isn't it weird? I never think about it. I've never thought about it before, but there was never a moment of us saying to each other, oh, from the moment we first started writing together, we would say, let's work again. Let's keep going. It never felt like a choice. It felt in a good way. Like we're just meant to be doing this. And I always say that anything that I would produce on my own, it pales in comparison to this sort of creation that isn't me or him, but the us creates something different than what we would come up with on our own. And that was special to find early. It's a marriage. It's like a marriage.
There are challenges. What are any challenges between working alone and working as a duo, if any?
Oh my gosh. Well, working alone, you actually have to do the work, and you know, like when you're working as a duo. No, but it's like, hey. Tom and I, Tom is right. It's so funny. We are so very different. Like, you know, Tom's the one who's like, when he gets an assignment, he's like completed it the first night. He gets it. Whereas I'm sort of like, when is it due? Great, I'll do it like 10 minutes before it's due. And so like, I'm such a procrastinator, and Tom is not. And it's a really kind of good combo because Tom holds me accountable in a good way. And so I mean, I like that about the way the work works that way. But also, I think you know, we as a team sort of. I think Tom put it really well. Like whatever we do as a team is more than just the two things that we bring to it. It becomes another thing.
Yes.
So, you have a built-in trusted critic. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like that like, I can look at his face and know, he's not feeling that line there. And I think the same other direction, but it's good because it's a safe place at this point. You know, I don't think we get mad about that with each other. We might get frustrated like that we can't figure it out, but I'm not mad at him for pointing it out because I know he just wants us to be better.
Yeah.
And that's lovely to have.
That is a wonderful collaboration to have, because a lot of people aren't lucky enough to collaborate. Like there's some argument. I mean, people make beautiful art and they're like this, you know, but you know, for the two of you to have such a wonderful rapport, and you feel like family. So, I mean, just reading your bios.
We are family. Let's be honest.
You know, let's be honest here.
Like,
we are family.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. But yeah, we do, and it's true. And we also are very like, you know, it's amazing that Tom and like we're also willing just to play around, which I love about Tom. Like it doesn't have to be. Sometimes the best stuff we do comes from just joking around at first and trying to figure something out. We're like maybe it's this. Like, oh, that's actually what it should be. You're like, oh my god, that's really funny. And it's, you know, I love that with Tom. It's a very collaborative.
We're being too nice to each other, though. What I can't stand is that he can riff and I can't, and that just bugs me every day.
Well, I mean, you know.
Well, you and I both have that in common, sir. I can riff. I remember somebody told me when I was in Greece, not the country, the musical.
Right.
I played duty, and I riffed a lot of my songs because the character wanted to be a pop singer.
Right.
So in his head, he's riffing.
Right.
And this boy came up to me, this, you know, ensemble member. He's like, this isn't Boys to Men. I said, well, you're just jealous, and you're in the ensemble, and I'm a principal.
Exactly. If
you learn to riff, maybe you would get that principal.
Well, you know, for me, it's so interesting. I have no real, I mean, I studied a tiny bit of voice when I was in school just because I had to, but like I've had no really vocal training, and I have no vibrato. I've just never found it. I don't have, you know, so like I'm like a perfect backup singer. Like I'm just like my voice just blends right into the back. There's just not a lot of personality to it. So I just learned, I'm like, I better do something. So I was like, I'm going to riff.
You're not giving us any Effie.
I'm just going to riff
You're just going to riff, and that's, this is kind of a generic question, but I'm always interested in this. If you could meet anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why? Tom, you go first.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my gosh. Two people came to mind. I'm not going to choose between the two, but I bet they're similar. That's the interesting thing. I would say either, God rest her soul, Carrie Fisher, or Jane Austen. And I bet they would be very similar dinner companions.
Yeah.
Sassy. They would have a funny line about everything around them, and you would probably end up drunker than you intended by the end of the night.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, and just because, and why? Like just because you would just find them interesting?
I studied Jane Austen in college, and I love her. I'm such an English major nerd. That's my sort of secret side. Outside just like the glittery life of music theater. I love 19th century literature, and I love Jane Austen. And I think she'd be fascinating because we just know so little about her. There's so little record of the actual woman. But between the lines, and if you could read her letters, she is the woman you want to sit next to at a party. And then Carrie Fisher the same way. I loved her growing up, and then I read her books.
I would love to have a couple of drinks with her because
my God, right?
She'd be a fun gal. How about you, Curtis?
Oh, this is such a tough question, and I'm not as good at this kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many people. Like, I just had well, I'm just going to tell you this is a random one. This isn't like someone I think about all the time. In fact, hardly ever. But I just had a dream a couple days ago that I had taken Einstein to the present.
Oh my God.
And he was allowed to see the present, but he couldn't go back to the past. And so I was like, I just think that you're such a smart, awesome person that I just need to show you what happens in the future. And then I got to show him around like iPhones and computers and science.
You are such a tech nerd. That's awesome.
It's not weird. So that I mean, that's not necessarily what I would say, but like, you know, that is what just was in my mind recently, that I had a dream that I took Einstein around modern day.
And showed him an iPhone. That's the best.
Can you imagine outside to be like, by the way, can I show you this cool thing?
You'd probably give him a coronary. He'd be like,
Hey Siri. Yeah.
Hey Siri. That's it. What kind of voice do you guys have for Siri, by the way? I'm always interested in that too. I have an Aussie. So
me too. I have an Australian man.
Yes.
I have an Irish woman.
You have an Irish woman. Wow. See, when I want my phone talking to me, I want to have hot pants.
I know, exactly.
So,
oh, nice.
Woohoo! So how did you get involved with Maisel?
Ooh, Maisel. It's a really funny way that came about because Tom and I were working on we're theater writers primarily and songwriters, and we had been hired by a production company to sort of exploit and try to figure out how to make certain movie titles into musicals. So we were sort of taking catalog movies and going through them all and trying to, musicalize them and come up with projects that movie companies could then, market and make.
You said yes.
And while we were doing that, the team paired us up with Amy Sherman-Palladino as a book writer. And so
she's the creator of Gilmore Girls and Mrs. Maisel.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's the director, creator, writer. And so we had been working on a couple of projects with her separately. And while we were working on them, she's like, hey, listen, you guys, I'm going to be just a little busy for the next 6 months. I'm doing the show. No one's going to watch it. And by the way, can you find me a young Jewish looking actress who can play a comedian in this new show I'm doing? I'm like, oh my God, what is the show? She's like,
She's like, no one's gonna watch it. I'll be back. I'll be able to write a musical with you guys in 6 months.
Gay fanny.
I know, right? Gay fanny. So obviously,
so clearly we haven't written a musical with her since then.
She's been very busy, and we've been lucky to get a weekend or two every few months at all with her to do anything and do any writing. And so at a certain point, she's just like, why are we not? I think it was Tom was like, why are we not writing the music for your TV show? She's like, why are you not writing? That was that. And then now here we are.
Sometimes you just have to say it. You just have to say it. I was teasing because she was talking about some new show and we're like, let us write the theme song. Come on, let us write the theme song. And then she was like, why don't you write some songs for Maisel? So it was lovely.
But that's a great message to send. Sometimes you just have to say it.
You have to ask.
Right, you have to ask because I think sometimes when you have the gumption to ask, then I think especially people in Hollywood love that. They just, they love it when you're just like, oh, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Let's see it if you've got it.
And then we built up a relationship and a friendship with her, trying to write this musical, and which was actually a lot more of us sitting around a table drinking wine, but why not? It's just tease her. We're all good. And she has been incredibly supportive of us and given us beyond our wildest dreams of the amount of support and ability to do what we wanted to do.
Well, now that you the two of you have captured that nomination, maybe the next panel they have, the two of you will be there. Because I watched the most recent one that they had, and she obviously Amy Palladino is so overwhelmed with the success of the show. She's happy with it, but I want to see you two up there with all those people.
I know, it's kind of the funny thing about it is, we come from this theater background, and I sort of feel like the joke of theater is like you finish a project and you're like, great, we're done. Who do I write the check to? It's like that's how you work so much that you never make any money. So now we're doing Maisel, which is like suddenly they're like, how many strings do you want? I'm like, how many can I get? It's like, how many do you want? I'm like,
oh my God.
So it's like, great. Suddenly I show up at the recording session and there's like 26 strings. You're like,
you were so cute in that picture this week too. Touch my tenders. I loved it. You're so adorable.
Now we sort of let it out. We are back for the next season. So we can't say what we're writing. We can't say, but
yeah, well, that's fine because I'm willing to wait. I don't care. But
it's a fun year. And I think, we've had it's been so amazing working on Maisel with the whole team. They're all really, really great, and it's a very, very fun family. And
something I've been interested in: does Rachel Brosnahan is she a singer? Can she sing in real life? Do you know? She's not a singer, because one of the running jokes is like, is she the singer? Yeah, no, I'm the comedian.
Right.
But does she sing in real life?
I don't think Rachel sings at all. I've heard her make a joke about it at some point, but I wouldn't be able to. I can't say that for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say if she can sing, then she is a good witch, because she's perfect. She's gorgeous. She's a marvelous actor. That figure, beep, and if she could sing too.
Yeah, she is sort of perfect.
I know. So we were on set about a month ago filming something, and it was a huge scene. I can't say anything about it. There were a lot of extras, which is always exciting. And I was like running around, like you always do, because things were changed last minute. We had to change a music cue, and we're, as they're performing something. And so I'm running back, and there's these two, there's, like I said, there's like tons of extras everywhere. But then these two people sitting down, I was like, oh, it was a stage mom and her little kid. They were like sitting there, like reading stuff. And I just kind of walked by, and I was like, I didn't think there were any children in this sequence. That's so weird, whatever. And then I kind of walked back again, and then I saw them standing in the set, like where we're all filming, and they were standing on a little piece of tape. They're just standing there, and I'm like, oh, that's Rachel Brosnahan and Alex. So I was like, that's
it's Susie and Midge.
I thought it was Susie and Midge, and I thought Midge was the stage mom and Susie was her like son.
Oh my God!
I was like, oh,
that is the most fabulous thing I think I've heard this entire year so far.
These people like hang out. There you go. Yeah.
That's cute.
What a cute mom.
If you weren't in the business, what would you be doing? I know that you could be a confectionery over there, Tom. And by the way, how do you stay so slim with all those pies you've been making?
I literally had to, during the pandemic, I was making a pie a week because I wanted to teach myself a skill. So I learned to make pie. But as of 2 months ago, I'm back to just one a month because middle age and that spare tire started to hit. I was like,
thank you. I'm there too.
This is not allowed.
Kids.
Yeah.
I'm there too.
Well, now that we're in our like late 20s, we have to really.
Yeah, we do have to watch it now. We have to watch it.
I've been 25 for like 10 years, so maybe we're going on 15 almost now.
I was gonna say I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, and that's the truth. That's a good one.
We always have to check with each other. I always have to check what age he's telling people.
Right.
Because then I just add 2 years to it for my age.
That's great.
We're 16 and 18. Yes.
I look to him. And
I look to him. But what about you, Curtis? What would you be doing if you weren't in the business?
Oh my God. If I wasn't in the business, I would be, and I mean this in all honesty, like, you know how like people, I am the most, and I can't speak for how anybody else, but I feel like I'm the most lucky, privileged person because I get to do this art as a living, and I get to write music, but it's not all fun and games as anybody, it's a job. Like I have to turn in work all the time. And so sometimes, and right now in particular, like we are generating a lot of material.
He's about to have a therapy session for you right now because he's in the weeds right now.
I am literally.
You poor thing. Thanks for making time for us.
No, it's so great. It's a great relief. I mean, but the truth is, so the funny thing is like sometimes the last thing I want to do when I'm done from work is like music or watch a movie, or I'm like, I want no stimulus that way. So, like some people have their day jobs and they like work in a factory or whatever. They come home and they have their rock band. I'm like the opposite. I do music all day long. And then I come home and I want to like deconstruct databases and learn how, like, so basically I would be a high-end audio visual home automation installer. That's what yeah. And in fact,
basically, I have my own IT expert. I don't call Apple. I call Curtis. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, you guys are really lucky because I have to hunt. But like this whole setup, I did my first digital show this past year, and not fun. Strawberry is not a tech gal. There were a couple of stressful nights of crying. I was like, I have to sing tomorrow. That's not going to be very good.
But your stuff is so great. Oh my God, you are so amazing as a singer, and your videos we always are just like, that's incredible.
Thank you so much. Oh, stop.
You made us very
proud. You see that I'm blushing, but I'm wearing
You were one of the first. You were one of the first to do a cover of our Maisel song.
I think, honest to God, I think I am actually the first to do at least One Less Angel, because I had to pay for that track. I had that made from scratch. I do backup vocals in that track with my friend Caitlin Barron, and we so I was like, because I was excited. I heard that song. I was hired for a party, a Maisel themed party,
Of course.
And I kind of, so I thought to myself, okay, 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to do Don't Rain on My Parade, because the whole group was Jewish. And I was like, she's going to love Barbara. And I think she actually specifically requested something from Barbara. And then my opening number was One Less Angel. And I'm telling you, those people dropped their panties. They had no idea where I got that track. They were at the end of the party. The woman was like, "Where did you get that track?" I was like, "A magic lamp."
That's kind of how we work too.
Yes, right. You are the magic lamp. Now,
try.
Who in your life, non-celebrity, has made the biggest influence? Has had the biggest influence?
Oh gosh, it's not a particularly new answer, but my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she believed in everything I did and was always. She's the best dirty joke teller in the world, and that has infused my life to laugh even through all the craziness and ups and downs, to just keep laughing and tell dirty jokes. And so that she is definitely the one who made the biggest impact.
Here's to your mother.
Here's to, I wish I had a.
She's great. Your mom was so dirty. She had such a filthy.
Was she really that dirty? I love it.
Oh yeah. And she liked watching boxing.
Oh my gosh.
She's basically Susie from in a lot of ways.
Really?
Yeah, I was raised by Susie.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're raised by Susie. That's cute. I'm a little Maisel, and on this side, and then on the under, I'm Susie, because I kickbox like 4 times a week. So when I was in class, my trainer was like, "You do drag?" I said, "Yeah." It's like, "I wouldn't want to work with you." It's like, or would you?
Now, you know what I would definitely pay a lot of money to do is kickbox drag. Like that.
I would love to do it. If they would let me do it, I would get all geeshed up and go in like a 1950s style exercise outfit, something very like Maisel-ish.
Yeah.
And whomp the hell out of that bag.
I think that would be so funny. Yes.
Let's write a number for you. Let's write a kickboxing number.
A kickboxing number. My husband and I we took a workout class that a friend of ours put together called Velvet Gloves, and it was basically gay boxing.
Oh, cute! I love the
name Velvet Gloves. It was so funny, and it was funny because we shouldn't have been paired up because Brad, my husband, as you saw, he came in. He's about 14 feet taller than I am, so like the two, it is literally like.
I saw that picture.
It is hilarious.
You guys are adorable. Please.
Best. He's the best.
I'm much taller than my fiance. He's like 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I am too. I'm 5'7" on a good day.
And I sometimes there's this picture of the two of us with my niece. We're with our niece, and we're holding her up. Like I'm like Dorothy with Munchkin. But Chris, who was a non-celebrity in your life, your biggest influence?
Well, oh gosh, he's not. He's kind of a little bit. He's mildly celebrity. I mean, like I have a lot of people that have been so super awesome and stuff. But one of them is this guy that Tom and I also know. He's that I met at Northwestern. His name's Larry Grossman, and he is kind of famous as a composer, but not a lot of people know who he is. But he's a mentor of ours and of mine, and a very good friend. And he really inspired me. I mean, like I said, I was an electrical engineering major in school, and I didn't think I was really gonna do anything with my music. I just liked it for fun. And I remember auditioning a song for him because he came back to do a sort of little seminar at Northwestern, and he was just like, "Why are you not studying music? You need to do this." And then he just really supported us. He gave me my first job in New York. He gave me an internship in New York. And just in case anybody doesn't know, Larry Grossman is a composer and a music director, and he wrote a lot of shows. He wrote like Grind and Minnie's Boys and Good Time Charlie and Paper Moon.
You know some of his songs, definitely.
Which is a big hit. And he also wrote, was the music director of the original Muppet shows for the entire first 4 or 5 seasons of that.
Oh.
Yeah, and so he worked with all those people, all those sequences. He did all the arrangements for it. So he's just this incredibly awesome guy. And yeah, so I kind of attribute that to him.
And has some of the best behind-the-scenes Muppet stories from the 70s that are just.
Muppets were my life. I mean, Miss Piggy. I wanted to be her.
Yeah.
Do you know that there is what Frank Oz, because they have to create the character. The basis of Miss Piggy is a truck driver who wants to be a woman. I was like, that sums it right up.
That's it.
Do you have, actually, just real quick while we're on the subject of Muppets, do you have a favorite Muppet movie? Mine is The Great Muppet Caper, hands down.
I might agree. I think The Great Muppet Caper is so funny.
When she comes in, she's like, I bought my je ne sais quoi and my portfolio all the way from New York City to be a holiday model. Are you serious? I'm gay. Like,
I also think the thing about that movie, and it's also the same thing with their Christmas Carol, is that the live action actors are so good in it with him, like Diana Rigg and Charles Grodin in that movie.
They play it straight.
You believe that he is falling in love with her, but also playing her. Like, you're like, how did you do this?
Exactly. So would you say that the Muppet movie is your favorite, Tom, or Muppet Caper is your
The Muppet movie is it's my heart, because that was everything to me. I listened to that album over and over. But my favorite to watch now is Muppet Caper, because it's a grand old movie musical with a water ballet.
It really is. I absolutely love it. And every single person that I've ever known that I've introduced it to, they fall in love with it, because it's a big musical. I mean, it's a splashy ass musical. I mean, those numbers, that Esther Williams, like, swimming, like, are you joking me?
Yeah.
And that puppet in the water with the bubbles up the nose. I can't. It's just.
How did they do that?
How did they do it? Blow holes in a straw. Who knows? What would your dream project be together?
Oh, that's really.
It's funny. Like, when we talk about, I mean, I would love to, just because of the way they live on and have the power to just move people, I would love to write an animated, like, a Disney musical or a Muppet, like, just to have that, because it's timeless and can live forever. And I will never forget, Little Mermaid. Those songs are just a part of my life, and those things. And how awesome would it be to do that?
I have to kind of agree. I think it would be great to.
We're agreeing on everything. What's happening today?
It's so funny, because my next question actually is, it's like, as a homosexual, I'm legally obligated to ask, do you ever want to work for Disney? I mean, because you two could be the next Sherman Brothers. You have a very signature style, and but it's also, each piece, each project has its own shift. So it's you, but it's not like the same old piece of gum. It's like a bright new flavor each time. So I agree. You guys belong at Disney. Have they ever approached you? Have you ever, like you said, sometimes you just have to say.
Let me check my voicemail. I haven't seen They haven't called today, sadly. No, but no, I would. I agree with Tom. I think they do such great stuff, and I think Pixar is such a cool space, and the art that they're creating in there is so exciting. And friends of ours have worked with them as well, and done stuff, and it's just such a good energy.
It's interesting that Pixar has not done a movie musical yet. They haven't done like an animated musical.
No, they haven't, you're right. But did they do like they did that?
Coco
was a movie with music, I think.
Right. It wasn't really a musical.
Yeah, it wasn't a clear
musical.
That's
probably the closest
I want an opening number like Tracy Turnblad's ass coming outside and being like, ah.
I want to spin on a mountaintop.
That's what I consider like a classic musical, where you don't know what else to say, so the only way to get it out now is to sing it.
It's to belt your face off.
Belt your face off.
Yes. No, I'm 100% in. Yeah.
This is a very important question. Who is your favorite drag queen who's performed one of your numbers?
Well, let me, this, I have to go through quite a list there.
You. Your husband.
Your husband. My husband.
Brad, I think Brad has done one.
He's done a little performing too. And
oh, really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
He will don a wig and heels and like nobody's business. He's pretty good.
And then he's 7.5 feet tall.
Already.
Oh yeah, I love a tall drag queen, especially when if you're a tall person before you get in your drag, and then you're like, fuck it, I'm wearing 4-inch heels. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I dig it.
So we do the P-Town, crawl every year, and Brad is always decked up, and he's so gorgeous, and he's got gams for days.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's so nice. I would never have known. So we're gonna wrap it up a little bit here because I've taken enough of your gentleman's time. But the last question I usually ask all of my interviewees is, if you were a fashion doll, what would your accessories be? Because I collect dolls, I love them, and they're my heart. So if you were a fashion doll, what would your accessories be?
I would have my accessories would be a voltage meter and a keytar.
A
keytar?
Yep.
That's great.
That's really good. Mine would be a little rhyming dictionary and a Manhattan.
Oh, a man after my own heart.
Brown liquor and rhyming. That's my life.
That's great. Well, boys, I am so thrilled that you took the time out to sit and talk with us here at Backstage Berry. I'm in love with everything you do. I literally have listened to the music from Maisel over and over and over again. I mean, I can rattle out the riff of all the soda pops those girls name off in Bottle of Pop.
Yay!
And Andre's like, you just like that song because you want to get to that part where they say all the Coca-Cola. So I was like, it's not Coke, it's pop.
It's pop.
Yeah, it is pop. My family's from Michigan.
All pop, yeah.
I love that song so much. We had such a blast writing that tune.
Did you come up with the name The Silver Bells? Or was that something that was written in there? Because what a great name for like a chanteuse band back then. And, and I also find it interesting how marvelous the actor is that plays Shy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the vocals are they match so well. Darius DeHaas's vocals, they marry. It's so wonderful. I would never have known that it was a different singer in a million years.
I have to be honest, he sang a cover at the end of season 2, and I was like, whoa, that sounds so familiar. His voice sounds so familiar. I was like, oh my God, it's my friend Darius. Like, because we've known Darius for years before we even did Maisel. So it was really great to be like, we're going to get to write songs.
Oh, he's great.
And that was actually one of the best parts about the process, was actually watching, because Leroy, who plays Shy, and Darius, they worked together the whole time. Leroy would come to the studio, in the recording studio, would sit next to him.
Well, come on, real actor, give it to me.
Exactly,
I love that.
watch his mouth. He would watch his mouth. They would talk about the character together before takes. And then Darius would come to the set and be right there behind the camera talking to Leroy.
Oh.
So it's wonderful that you noticed that, because they worked really hard to make it feel like one person.
My mother wanted proof. She was like, you're lying. It's the same person. I was like, I know people who know people. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah,
and I know.
Well,
I know. Well,
all I can say is I hope we have a number for you in the next season. We'll see what.
Honest to God, before I die, I want you to write me a song, and I want to perform with Darius DeHaas, and I want to have dinner and drinks with you so we can get drunk and be bitches.
I love we're gonna write a duet. We're gonna write a duet for you and Darius. Done.
See, that would. Oh my God, I would die. Just completely die. It would be wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for coming. And everyone, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at Backstage Berry. Where can we find you gentlemen on the interwebs?
We are miserandmore.com, and it's Mizer with a Z, not Mizer with an S. Because you know the rest.
Mizer with an S. All right, fellas, well, you have a wonderful day, and hopefully we will be able to do this again sometime soon. You've been such wonderful guests.
I know.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
All right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You. Bye-bye.